All right, here we are. Welcome again, my fellow Eternals, fellow Elohim. Welcome to another sunny someday. I call it Sunday someday now. SUM. It's really, life-giving. The sun. So someday, of the one great I am awakening. I'm Chris Taylor, one of your hosts, and with me is my partner in spirit and in mind, Sir T.
Yes,
Big up
sir.
fellow Elohims here.
Yes, man. Greetings. Pleasant rising to everybody out there. Sir Chris, you look good. You look good on camera, boy. You look like $1 million. I
We don't want to look like $1 million. We want to be $1 million, isn't it?
don't want to be. Just be it. You're a human being. You're not a human wannabe. We are not human wannabes. We are human beings. So
I like that. We're not wannabes. That's right.
no, you're always whatever you are being. You are always whatever you're being. I love the topic this morning. I listened, I never had a chance. When you sent me the tape last night, I never had a chance to go through it. But I went through it half an hour ago. And it's a technique that again, nobody can do it for you now. You have to do it yourself. But I can see the value of that technique, the way you actually use a physical door to shut out. It's a reminder, it's significant. When you slam that physical door, it's like you're saying, away with that thought, away with that whole idea. But never will explain it best. Unfortunately, I can't be on camera this morning. I don't look camera worthy at all. I've had 2 hours sleep in the last 24 hours, and in 2 hours' time, I'm about to start a 20-hour shift. So you're pretty much looking at over a 44-hour period, I'm gonna have 2 hours sleep. So yeah, I'm in no shape or condition physically,
You'll
but
get you'll get
mentally,
some
I'm
sleep,
ready.
man.
Yeah, man, mentally, I'm ready, man. I'm here.
You'll get some sleep, man. No worries.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It will be quiet for you. I've just slammed the door shut on that. All
There
right.
you go.
Okay, fellow Elohim. Again, today's topic is to slam the door shut. You know, on the five senses or on the senses. Notice I spell senses starting with the number five, just being clever. Shut the door on the five senses and leave open only the door to the imagination. So simultaneously, when you shut the door to the five senses, you have technically now opened the door to your imagination. That is exactly how it goes, because the imagination is a portal. All right. And you're opening the door to focus only on that, one directional, and cannot be double minded, cannot be looking at the five senses as well as looking at your imagination, because your five senses are robbers. They're going to rob you of your dream, of your goal, of your desire, of your perceived um, goal. You understand? So you have to trick your mind, so to speak, and learn how to shut off the door to the five senses. So, as per mentioned, Sir T mentioned it, the audio. This is today we're going to honor and remember two people, and that is Never Goddard. But most of the time, we forget to mention Abdullah. Without Abdullah, there is no Neville. And I think after today, we're going to really recognize that. Neville is really the mouth of Abdullah. Neville is speaking in relation to everything that Abdullah taught him or knows.
Oh yeah,
Not true,
absolutely, sir.
not true, Sir T?
Absolutely, sir, Chris. Yeah, man. Never. Neville is to Abdullah what Malcolm X was to Elijah Muhammad.
Yes.
Elijah Muhammad was the visionary,
Hmm.
but Malcolm X was the spokesman. He was the one that had the charisma, the verbiage, and all of that.
Intellect,
So
you know?
the intellect, Malcolm X was the one that brought forth everything that Elijah Muhammad had envisioned and taught him. It's the
Hmm.
same thing. Neville Goddard is the one that had the charisma and the charm. Very similar personality to Malcolm X when you really check him out. Neville Goddard. Man was a wonderful speaker. You would never get bored listening to him.
I
But
tell you.
he was really speaking the words of Abdullah.
Yes.
Just like Malcolm X was speaking the words of Elijah Muhammad.
Absolutely.
And you hear Bob Marley singing the words of Haile Selassie. It's a similar thing.
Exactly. And here we are representing, both Neville and Abdullah, in that order. I mean, Abdullah and Neville in that order. So we are the third generation, so to speak, of this message, coming all the way from Abdullah. And I'm sure Abdullah himself had a teacher, a visionary, a mystic from whom he learned the message we're teaching today. And this message is the truth that remains true throughout all generations. It is never something new. Anything that is new is a lie. You understand? Truth is as old as your spirit, as old as your consciousness. No beginning, no end. You understand? It always is and always will be. So this is not something that is new. It's something that is true. We're just new to it, so to speak. But the message itself has always been and has been transcending or traveling throughout all generations. And from us to the next generation that is to come, they will see these videos, these audios, and continue the message. All right? Just as I'll never continue the message of Abdullah. So without further ado, let's jump into the audio. And it is titled Close the Door. Make sure I'm get it right. Close this out. All right. Get this down here. All right, here we are. Is this it? Okay. The master reviews of materialized money. Is this the right one? Okay, so let's go. So this is titled Close the Door and Never Look Back. That is one of the title on the video itself. And this is Neville Goddard revealing how to materialize money from nothing, just by using the technique that he learned from his teacher, Abdullah. So let's take a listen, and we'll be back momentarily to, speak on some of the stuff that we're going to hear from Neville. Take a listen.
They called it the Great Depression, but for some, it was the Great Awakening. Imagine it. New York City, 1931. Dust hangs heavy in the air. Job lines wrap around city blocks. The jazz clubs echo a sorrowful tune. America is gasping for breath, its lungs full of fear, its heartbeat slowed by scarcity. But inside one small lecture hall, something entirely different is happening. A broke, barefoot dancer, his soul bruised by rejection and his wallet empty, steps quietly into a room. His name is Neville Goddard. He has no idea that within moments, everything about his life is going to change. Not with money, not with luck, but with a sentence from a stranger that will shatter the rules of reality. "You're 6 months late," the man says. Neville blinks, confused. "I beg your pardon?" The stranger doesn't flinch. "The brothers told me you would come. You're late, but right on time." That man was Abdullah, a black Jewish Ethiopian rabbi, a man who, without ceremony, without apology, would become one of the most important spiritual teachers of the 20th century. Not because he wrote books, but because he knew something no one else dared to believe, that reality bends to the imagination of the disciplined soul. And that day he began to teach Neville the forbidden. Not forbidden because it was evil, but because it was too powerful, too simple, too direct. It bypassed priests, bypassed logic, bypassed the institutions that feed off your fear. It was a technique so daring, so clean, so surgical in its magic, that it could pull money from the unseen into your palm with one act, one decision. And it starts with a door, not a metaphor, a real physical door. Abdullah told Neville, "Close the door and do not open it again." It wasn't a poetic suggestion, it was instruction, command, a mystical technology of the mind embedded in the physical to collapse the gap between desire and reality. But let's back up. For 5 years, Neville followed this man, learned Hebrew under candlelight, studied the Kabbalah until dawn. But no lesson would be more profound than this. When you decide something is yours, you must slam the door shut on any suggestion otherwise. Neville would come to him and say, "I want to go to Barbados." And Abdullah wouldn't blink. He would say, "You already did." Neville would protest, "But I have no money." Slam. Abdullah would walk away, shut the door of his study behind him, loud, final, done. No debate, no room for negotiation, because the conversation was over. In his mind, Neville had already gone. The moment Neville desired it, it was real in the invisible. The rest was just divine choreography. This was not kindness, this was precision, because Abdullah understood a brutal truth. Every second you talk about the how, every time you peek behind the curtain of your own miracle, you unplug it from the socket of faith. The power dies when you try to prove it. Now fast forward to December 1933. Neville is broke. Again. The world is collapsing outside. Bread lines are growing, faith is shrinking. But inside his mind, Barbados. He tells Abdullah he wants to go home. Abdullah snaps, "You're already in Barbados, stop talking like you're not." And for weeks, Neville walks the streets of New York, feeling the humid breeze of the tropics in his imagination. He hears the sea, he smells the salt, he boards an imaginary ship every night before bed. And every time doubt creeps in, slam. Not metaphorically, he slams the door of his apartment, boom, on the outside world, on logic, on doubt, until one day a letter arrives. His brother Cecil, a $50 check, a ticket. He arrives at the port with a third-class ticket, ready to sail home. But at the gate, the agent says something strange. "We've had a cancellation. You've been upgraded." To what? First class. Exactly what Abdullah said. Exactly what Neville declared. And that, my friend, is the secret. Not visualization alone, not feeling alone, but the combination of 3 forbidden steps that break open the gates of wealth, opportunity, and freedom. Step 1, absolute declaration. You do not wish for money. You do not try to manifest money. You declare, with no hesitance, that it is already yours. You say, "I have $10,000 in my bank account." You say, "I am employed at the perfect job." You say, I have more than enough. And you say it like you say, my name is Sarah, or I am breathing. There is no gap, no question mark. Abdullah used to say, you're either pregnant or you're not. There is no kinda. Either you have the thing in your world, your imagination, or you don't. And if you don't, nothing will help you. Not prayer, not begging, not effort. Step 2, the door slam. You walk to a real door. Your bedroom, your office, your kitchen. You speak your desire aloud as a fact. Then you slam that door. Not angrily, decisively. You close it as if God Himself said, "It is done." You are anchoring the physical to the metaphysical. You are telling your subconscious, this reality is closed, that reality is open. This act, neuroscientists now confirm, creates a kinesthetic anchor, a physical movement that tells your brain, no more debate. The matter is settled, the page is turned. Step 3, the vow of silence. Here's where 99% of people destroy their own miracles. They close the door, then reopen it to check if anything's happening. They ask, where's the money? They look for signs. They worry. They peek. Every peek is poison. You must vow to discuss the topic with no one. Not your friends, not your spouse, not even yourself. You must refuse to run mental diagnostics on your miracle. Why? Because the moment you analyze, you announce to the universe, I don't believe it's really mine yet. Abdullah never explained. He just was. He just knew. He never discussed methods. He never made diagrams. He demonstrated. He lived it. And through that certainty, he passed on the frequency of the kingdom. He knew the laws of the invisible. Whatever you believe to be true completely, without apology, will crystallize into your world. And you know what? Modern physics agrees. In quantum theory, there's a principle known as the observer effect. Reality shifts according to your perception of it. Not metaphorically, literally. Particles behave differently when you observe them. They collapse into form. The unseen becomes seen, but only if you're watching with certainty. That's the doorway. That's the slam. That's the forbidden act. When you...
All right, let's pause it there for a while, a little bit, and we're like halfway there to the video. And, talk about some of what we just heard here. So I like this part about the observer effect, which is a very interesting concept that quantum physicists are now looking at. And it is absolute true. It's absolutely fact. It's just that we don't really understand how it works, but it is actually something that is true, because reality is malleable. Reality is pliable. It's plastic, so to speak. And it takes form based on your perception. So now your perception is a mold. Anything or anytime you're perceiving something, you're actually forming a mold. And what do molds do? Molds are things that take the shape of something that you put into it. So whatever you're putting into the mold, that is the shape that is going to present. And so as you're perceiving a particular thing, you're creating a mold. You're literally creating a mold. And it is the perception of the reality in your own imagination. So as you're perceiving something, visualizing something in your imagination, it is a mold that you're creating. And what's going to go into it? The way, the how, the when, the where, these are the things that's going to form, that's going to go into that mold and present to you or express to you that perception that you had in your imagination. whatever scenery or circumstances, events, people, whatever it takes, they're going to come and fill that mold. And in the end, as you're living in the end, because the perception that you should have that never taught us to have, as you're hearing here with Abdullah, who learned it from someone and who passed it down to Neville, that you should live in the end. Living in the end is the end of is the shape of the mold, the final product of the mold that you have created. And so when Abdullah told Neville to um, Neville how the scenery went, Neville told Abdullah, but I don't have any money. I just have this desire to go to Barbados. So the desire that Neville had was the mold that he was forming, unbeknownst to him. Okay, he was forming the mold, but the mold, as in the scripture tells us with Jeremiah, when he went to the potter's house, was spoiled. And so Jeremiah didn't throw away the mold, the clay, he reformed it, reshaped it. So Abdullah, in this case, was slamming the door on Neville when he came and saying, but I don't have any way to get to Barbados. I don't have the money. How am I going to get to Barbados? And Abdullah said to Neville, you are already in Barbados. You are in Barbados and you went there first class. So notice he's speaking in the past tense. You went there. That means it's already happened. It is a fact. It is already realized and materialized. You understand? In his own imagination. So Neville began to question it. Well, how am I in Barbados and I'm here? This was like a foreign language to Neville. And that's when Abdullah slammed the door shut, which was a very interesting and necessary act to make sure Neville does not only pay attention to what his five senses are telling him. He didn't want to conversate with Neville because Neville would shoot himself in the foot, so to speak, kill his own dream. So Neville shut the door. Abdullah shut the door on Neville so there could be no furtherance of the conversation, because all Neville was going to do was focus on the limitations, not having the money. I've been here all these years. I haven't gone back to Barbados yet. It's been, I think, 12 years or something like that since he had been back to Barbados, or since he has been in the States. And so he never been back and didn't see how he was going to be able to get back. He had not been in any contact with his brother or anybody on how to, fund the trip. So in his mind, it's just a imagination, as they would tell us. It's just in your imagination. It's not something that, is real. It's just something that you're thinking about. And so Abdullah, who knew this secret, who knew that this is the world as we see it is not fixed. It's malleable, it's pliable, it changes, it conforms to the form that you have in your imagination that you have created. The mold that you have created. The world will take the shape of it, and the events, the circumstances, all these things will come together. You may not even see it, how it's materializing. Things will just be so organic and take shape. And before you know it, you have realized your goal. And so in Neville's case, he got a letter from his brother, I think with $50 in it, saying that, your ticket is bought, this is spending money, we're having a reunion in Barbados, and you have to be there, no question, okay? And, Neville, prior to receiving that letter, was walking the streets in New York, pretending that he was in Barbados, visualizing that he was seeing palm trees and feeling the cool breeze, and he was on the beaches and he was eating food with his family. So he was living in the end from the very beginning, something that he had never done, didn't understand, but took it to heart and listened to Abdullah. And Abdullah, um, you know, taught Neville so well that Neville listened and obliged. And before you know it, he was in Barbados and he got there first class, even when he came back to Neville and said, Neville, you're right. My brother sent me the money and whatever. I'm going to Barbados, but I'm not going first class. Abdullah slammed the door in his face again and said, you went to Barbados and you went there first class. I never couldn't understand. You're not even happy that I'm going to Barbados? It worked. And when he got to the port, they announced to him there was a cancellation. You are going to Barbados first class. Certi.
So, Chris, you know what I find strange about Neville's experience in New York. He left Barbados as a 17-year-old. He was 17 years old, not even fully. And he came to New York alone. And not like in front of some family members or whatever. Mother,
Yeah.
father, all his siblings were still in Barbados. And he was not the oldest either. He left
No.
older siblings in Barbados and younger ones as well. Now his
Yeah.
older brother, by the time the depression was happening in America, and he was a struggling dancer, broke, going through all that he's going. His family in Barbados had started to rise to some level of affluence by then. His older brother, Victor, was a successful businessman, starting to become a successful businessman in Barbados. His younger brother, John Goddard, had become the captain of the West Indies cricket team. By then, this is something that I just learned a few months ago. That Neville's younger brother, John Goddard, was captain of the West Indies, of the West Indies cricket team. So it's not like he was from a poverty-struck family, but he had to go through all of that, being penniless and destitute, so that he could learn and manifest all these things that we are now benefiting from today. So you see how things can just take a natural path and just happen naturally. Neville could have been spared all of that poverty and all that kind of stuff, but he had to go through it. You there, Sir Chris? Hello?
You can hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you now.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
I remember
I'm
you
just saying that it was natural. It all followed a natural course, a natural path that, normally, I mean, he's from a big family and no doubt they are a close family. And his family was doing well back home while he was over here by himself, struggling, suffering, going through all of that. But he had to endure that so that he could become who he eventually became.
Yeah, man. I remember you sent me that link about his brother who played cricket professionally or something like that. Uh,
Yeah. He didn't just play. He was captain of the West Indies cricket team. I mean, he was
Captain.
captain. He was captain of the West Indies cricket team while Garfield Sobers was in the team. So that tell you the level of cricketer that he was.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Captain over Garfield sober. So, definitely was a good revelation there and authenticated, Neville's time in America at that particular time. And as I say, something that he had to go through in that time to become who he is now. As I said, never could have experienced opulence from the very beginning, but he chose to come to America by himself, no family here. In New York, he was a dancer, or became a dancer, something like that. And, basically was the prodigal son, if you will. He had left his father's house where he could have enjoyed um, opulence, money, riches, all type of stuff like that, and didn't have to go through what he went through. But in doing it, he learned, how to, survive by using his imagination, as he was taught by his teacher and mystic Abdullah. So this was a very profound lesson that Never learned from the very beginning. Anything else that Never had done in techniques and this and that and this on the sort that he has used or taught going forward, they are all secondary to this one technique that he learned from the very beginning. It might have been ordinary, at the time to Neville. Probably didn't recognize the significance of what Abdullah did or was doing. Probably in his own mind thinking Abdullah was rude, and too abrupt. And, but he obeyed, had to obey because Abdullah was not going to have any of it. And as a result, Never learned very quickly without exchanging any type of arguments as to why not. Why I can't question how it is going to happen or when, he learned from the very beginning, from the very onset, that in doing so, as you just heard on the tape, if you question how anything is going to happen, if, when, where, who's going to do it, who's going to help me, in what way, how is this even possible? Look at my situation right now. I just lost my job. I just got demoted. I just lost some money in some investment. I just quit my job, whatever, going through all type of different situations. How is it going to happen now and my life is in disarray? Whenever you are questioning how something is going to happen or if, that is almost absolute doubt. As Abdullah said, you're either pregnant or you're not. There is no, I'm kind of pregnant. You either are or you're not. So you have to see yourself as pregnant with the state. And when a woman is pregnant, she's not kind of pregnant, she knows it. And don't question if she is or not. She knows by experience, by learning from others or seeing others, that it takes 9 months. And it's been going on for generations. So it's not going to be different for her. It's going to take 9 months just as well. It may come earlier in some cases. Like for me and my 2 girls, they came at 6 months. You understand? But nonetheless, 9 months is the ordinary and the biological operation of pregnancy. So you have no doubt that it's going to happen. It's the same thing with our states that we have imagined, our desires. It's the same. It's more profound. It is more certain. It is more powerful than anything physical, because it is the cause of all things. The difference is, though, is we question things because we don't see a lot of people doing it. We don't have examples of it. We don't have our own examples. We don't have family members with their examples. We don't have friends with the examples. We didn't grow up with people saying, look what my imagination did, or look what Mr. Thomas' imagination did. Look what Mr. Taylor imagination did. Look what look what Charmin or Mark or whatever Everybody here, look at what our community has done with their imagination. We didn't grow up like that. We grew up watching people have babies and we believe it. And we know that's how it goes. But we did not know that our perceptions by way of the imagination was what was creating our lives. We think things were just random. Some God in the sky or some devil somewhere roaming the earth was the cause of all this, not knowing that we were the very potters that was forming the clay being whatever we imagined. Okay? Whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. we did not know. And so therefore, because we didn't know, we had no certainty that imagination is reality. We had no certainty that imagination is God. We always thought that it was some God in the sky, some omnipotent, omniscient being out there in oblivion, pulling the strings, and some devil who opposes him. You understand? Which is when we pray for something and we don't get it, we can say, well, two things. Either God don't want me to have it yet, or the devil was in the way. These are the nonsense we were taught. And so Abdullah never spoke on religion. Abdullah taught spirituality, esoteric knowledge. And so Neville didn't get the chance to question or focus on what he learned coming up about religion and restrictions and limitations and all this type of stuff. Neville had to recalibrate. He had to learn the new way of doing things, unlearn the old way of doing things, and relearn, mean to reprogram the new way of doing things. And in doing so, Neville became successful going forward because he had learned it finally, the right way to do it, and never question anymore how things were going to be done or how will it be done. He just know that you form the mold of by living in the end from the very beginning, and do not question anything as to when, if, or how it is going to happen. Be very faithful as the mustard seed to remain, connected to the end. That is truly faith. Faith is remaining despite the circumstances, despite what's going on right now in our economy, in our existence. Whatever is going on, if you have a goal, if you have a dream, if you have a purpose, remain there nonetheless, despite what's going on. Whatever your five senses are telling you, whatever you see, whatever you can hear, whatever you can taste, smell, and touch, shut the door on all of that nonsense, because that is not who you are. You are not the five senses. You are consciousness. You are the imagination. You are the potter. And whatever you form transforms and become materialized in your reality.
Sir Chris, real quick,
Yes, sir.
just to confirm that what the five senses show you is not real.
Mhm.
Notice that anything that you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, it's all temporary. The thing where you see, by the time you look around, you don't see it again. The thing where you smell, by you walk out, you don't smell it again. The thing where you hear within a few, and notice the definition of what is real. The only thing that is real is that which changeth not. You notice the things where you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, you notice how quickly and how often it change.
Yeah,
That's because it's not real. If it was real, it couldn't change.
absolutely.
So just be aware of that your circumstances that you are measuring based on your five senses, circumstance is not real. If it was real, it couldn't change. You better be happy that it's not real.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Thank you for adding that there, Surti, you're absolutely right. That is very profound. You know, circumstances, situations, they're not permanent, they change. The cause, the thing that created all these things, that never changes. And therefore, whatever created your circumstances can undo it. It's the same thing that you use to cause it is the same thing that you have to use to dissolve it, your consciousness. All right. So that said, let's continue with the tape, and we'll be right back momentarily.
You declare something so real that the universe has no option but to obey. And here's the secret no one tells you. It's not about magic, it's about finality. It's about living in the end so fully that there is no room for a middle. Neville didn't become a millionaire because he was lucky. He didn't rise to become one of the greatest teachers of imagination because he was born special. He did it because he finally understood what Abdullah was trying to show him. You don't get what you want, you get what you assume. So now, I ask you, what are you assuming? Are you assuming lack, struggle, delay, or are you assuming that what you want is already done, sealed, delivered? Let me be direct. If you keep checking your bank balance, if you keep worrying about the timeline, if you keep asking for confirmation, you're not assuming, you're begging, you're doubting, you're leaking power with every glance backward. Abdullah didn't slam the door for drama, he slammed it to seal the state. That's what you must do now. Not just once, not as a ritual, but as a new standard of being. Because here's the raw truth. If you don't slam the door on your old life, your old thinking, your old doubts, then life will keep dragging you back into that room of limitation. It's not about effort, it's not about working harder, it's not about waiting for perfect alignment. It's about shutting the door and locking it behind you. Not with a key, but with faith. And what is faith? Faith is not hope. Faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. Faith is knowing the package has already shipped, even if tracking hasn't updated. When Neville stopped asking how, when he stopped talking about wanting to go to Barbados, and instead became the man who had already gone, the world had no choice but to align. Let that sink in. The world had no choice but to align, because the world is not happening to you. The world is being projected by you. That's why you can't keep opening the door. That's why you must walk through this world as if it already happened. Because the truth is, in the only realm that matters, the realm of imagination, it already has. And if you understand that, then you understand the deepest teaching Neville ever learned. Imagination is God. It's not a tool, it's not a plaything. It is the divine creative force flowing through you. When you imagine with conviction, you are not hoping for something. You are creating it. You are declaring it. And all of heaven bends to your inner decree. So the next time you feel fear or lack or doubt, don't collapse. Don't run to social media. Don't phone a friend. Stand up. Walk to a door. Declare your desire aloud as already true. Then slam it shut. Not in anger, but in authority. And then walk away. Live as if it's done. Dress as if it's done. Speak as if it's done. And never, ever speak of the doubt again. Why? Because the moment you do, you reopen the door. You weaken the structure. You signal the subconscious that the matter is still open for debate. But the subconscious doesn't work with maybe. It works with I am. I am wealthy. I am healed. I am chosen. I am free. Those aren't affirmations. Those are access codes to the reality already waiting behind the curtain. And the door The door is the symbol. The door is the line in the sand between who you were and who you are now. You do not cross back. You do not explain your faith. You do not negotiate with delay. You decide and you remain, because that is the truth. Faith is remaining. Remaining loyal to the new version of you even when the 3D world mocks it. Remaining anchored in your assumption, even when logic screams otherwise. Remaining firm in your end, no matter what storm passes between here and there. Neville did not become a master of manifestation because he learned how. He became a master because he stopped asking how. And so must you. If you made it this far, you're not ordinary. You've been chosen to remember what they made you forget. That you are not here to suffer through life hoping for blessings. You are here to create, to speak, to assume, to command, and then to close the door. So here is your challenge. Today, yes, today, not tomorrow, not when the stars align. Find a door, any door. Your room, your closet, your front door. Stand in front of it. Speak what you desire as if it is already so, and then close it. Hard, final, done. And then go live. Go live like the person who already has it. Go live like the job is yours. The health is restored. The money is deposited. The relationship is healed. And say nothing else. Speak to no one about the process. Don't water the seed with your breath. Let it bloom in silence. And when it arrives, because it will, return here. Return to this place, this comment section, and write, Abdullah was right. Let the world see the fruit of your decision. Let your story activate someone else's courage, because your miracle isn't just for you. It's for the countless souls watching, waiting, wondering. If this works, be their proof, be your proof, and above all, be the one who closed the door and never opened it again.
All right, and we're back. That was the end of the audio. And man, that was a profound lesson from Abdullah to Neville. Slam the door technique. Who would have thought that this would be a technique to slam the door? So I copied this from the internet. Just want to read, go over it. Where is it at? Want to go over what it means to slam the door on something in our sense. Slam the door shut can be a literal action, meaning to close a door forcefully and loudly, often with anger and frustration. Or it can be a figurative idiom, which is what we're talking about here today, figuratively, meaning to emphatically reject or refuse something such as an idea, opportunity, or person, thereby closing off all possibilities for the future. And so the literal meaning refers to a door being closed. And at the time when Neville was experiencing this, it was a literal door example that he received from Abdullah. And in a very strange way, he was learning metaphorically, or esoterically, what to do when you're creating, when you have a desire. As in Neville's case, he had desired, for some reason, it just came upon him to go back to Barbados. He had not been back there since he came to the States. He was in the States for about 12 years at the time, and he didn't see the way how to do it. And what Never was doing in contemplating the trip, he was leaving the door open of the five senses, wherein you will be entertaining what the five senses is going to show you. It's going to show you that you don't have the money, you don't have the time, you don't have the know-how. You're not, in a good situation right now. You're struggling. You don't have a foundation. You don't have money saved up. There's going to be so many things that the five senses. You're going to hear people telling you, um, the economy is not good right now. Maybe you should wait. Um, you know, don't even think about that because there's no way it is possible. That's an impossibility. So your five senses are going to draw these whatever you think in are using as limitations. Your consciousness is going to draw into your experience proof of what you're saying to yourself. And this is where it gets real dicey and tricky because you're going to confirm to your own self whatever limitations you're placing on the situation, thereby will seal your fate that you were right. That's it. I knew it wasn't possible. I knew I wasn't going to get the job. I knew I wasn't going to get the money or the opportunity. You know, look what happened. Something is going to come along and confirm to yourself that the limitations or whatever you had considered will prove itself to be true. And you will not realize that if you had shut the door on those contemplations, they would have never been a reality. That is the trick. That is the unfortunate thing that happened to so many of us. That we prove to ourselves the limitations. Yes, they do happen. They do occur. They do show themselves and prove us to be fortune tellers in a way, that we were right all along. It might have been someone else whose idea, whose information, whose noise you entertained. And in entertaining it, meaning to bring it inward into your own mind, your own consciousness, and consider it and live in that end. And before you know it, that becomes a fact in your world. I said to your friend, say you did right. You were right, it thing never materialized because this and that and the third was happening or did happen. And so we are ever creating our perfect imagination. Whatever we imagine is perfect, whether it be in favor or not, whether it is going to shut down any opportunity that you were hoping to arise or not. You are going to create the opportunity or the circumstances, the events to decline or to resist, to diminish whatever you had hoped to receive or to achieve, and look at that. You are so good at creating the way to decline or shut or dismiss your own desire, right? But you're not equipped enough to design or to create, to formulate, to manifest the desire itself. We are so good at the opposite. Imagine that. And we don't realize that we're the ones who is diminishing, disrupting our own goal, our own fortune. We don't realize it. We pass it on to um, whoever the president is, or whoever uh, the senator is, or the owner is of this and that and the third. We always passing it on to somebody else or to something else. They say, yeah, man, it is Trump. Him a mash up the economy and he's doing this. And so we're always having this blame game. We've been taught to blame someone other than ourselves, not realizing that individually and collectively, our consciousness, our focus consciousness on a particular thing had had to create what we're experiencing. No idea that it is what we collectively and individually have done to ourselves. And thereby we blame others, not knowing that we are the root cause. We are the root cause of all of it. So we have perfectly created these circumstances, our personal experiences, and not realizing that we can undo it, we can dissolve it by shutting the door off to these experiences that we're seeing now, that we've manifested. We can shut the door to that, close it off completely. Not only shut the door, but lock it, okay? And throw away the key. Don't even open it back. Don't even give yourself any opportunity to use the key to go and open the door to peek and see what's going on. Where is the thing? How come it's not happening yet? I want to see if it's coming. I want to see if it's on its way. Don't even keep the key. Throw it away somewhere, okay? Out of your sight. Out of your sight, and all this nonsense will be out of your mind. You will not let it penetrate your consciousness and just do a 180. Turn your back to it. Do not look back, as Lot's wife did, okay? And be frozen in a pillar of salt, being to be frozen in the same state that you're currently in. But continue to journey in upward into higher frequency, higher vibration, higher consciousness, and only remain there. Get out of the valley and go higher, okay? And remain there. And the events, I mean, the events, the people, the circumstances, whatever it is that's going to create your manifestation, they will come. They will somewhere, somehow come so organically, you won't even realize that is happening until it does. You won't realize until it happens. I see it now because I'm aware when things are happening, and so it's very funny when you see things are formulating, materializing right in front of your eyes, and it's really a different understanding of who you truly are when you can see the manifestation that you have created, the mold that you had formed, start to take shape, start to become and express, experienced, and you just let it happen. You just watch it flow without any resistance. You don't try to hurry it up and say, what's taking it so long, or hurry up and come, or whatever. You just watch it flow, and it becomes your own personal reality, or a reality that is inclusive to everyone else, because we're all creating individually, but in concert, always doing it, And so what we're saying here today, guys, is to, anytime you have a desire, a personal desire of some kind, they are going to come with that. Every time you desire, as soon as you have a desire, this what comes with the desire as well is the how. It's always going to come. So don't worry about why am I asking how it's going to happen. That is just the reality of consciousness. It is going to always come with the desire and then the how. There's no other way around it. The trick is not to focus on the how. This is just how things come in twos. You have a desire, there must be a way how it's going to happen. So it is a natural question or consideration to have. The problem is that we focus on the how, not on the desire itself. So what Neville and Abdullah has taught us here is to live in the end only. Shut the door on the how. It is there for a reason. That question is there for a reason. The way as how it's going to happen is there. It's in the how, it's there, but you do not know how it is going to happen. So if you focus on it, you're not going to form the mold you're supposed to with your desire. Once you have the desire, you have to create the mold for the desire. That mold is living in the end of the desire. That mold is seeing yourself, like in this case, with this Neville's example, see yourself in Barbados. See yourself already walking in the streets, looking at the trees, looking at the sunshine, talking to people, eating the food. You understand? Focus only on the very end, right from the beginning, and shut the door on the how. The how is going to figure itself out. That's not your job to figure out how it is going to happen. You just need to know that it is a certainty. You just don't know how it is going to happen, but you must know that it is a certainty. That part is the only thing you should concern yourself with when it comes to the how. The how, I don't know, but I am certain that it's going to happen. You understand? And only leave yourself focusing on the very end of your desire. That end is the mold that you are creating or that you have created. And whenever you form that mold, what you do? You leave the mold alone. You don't continue to formulate it. It is fixed. It's done. All you need to do now is fill it with the material to take the shape of the mold that you have formed. You understand? And those material, that material, whatever it is, that's going to fill it in, are going to be the people, the circumstances, the events, the how, the when, the where. These are the things that's going to fill the mold. Your job is to shape the mold, not fill it. Whatever is going to come to make it happen will come.
Mr. Chris.
Yes, yes, sir. Tim.
Yeah, I think what we have to commit to is the fact that manifestation is past tense. It's a past tense thing. We have to come out of this present tense thing when we think of manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
Let me explore. Let me expound on that. See, if you accept that the assumption is already at an end, then if the assumption is already at an end, then surely the how of it must also be a past tense.
Yes.
The how it happened, not how it's going to happen. That's our problem. We're wondering how it's going to happen. And that right there is telling you that you are not living in the end. Because if you're living in the end, you would know that it already happened. So how it happened is also a past tense. It's not a case of how it's going to happen. We keep dragging ourselves back into the state where we are projecting the end to be a future happening. And if you're projecting the end to be a future happening, it will forever be a future happening. You're putting it in the future and it will stay there. You have to put it in the past, and if you put the end in the past, then the middle must also be in the past, because you have to get through the middle before you get to the end. The how is the middle of it. The beginning of it is the desire. How it's gonna happen is the middle of it.
Yes.
And the manifestation of it is the end.
Mhm.
The technique is to go all the way to the end and see the end as a past event. And by thus doing, you automatically accept the how of it as also being a past event. And I'll tell you what, if you see the how as a past event, you won't have to be wondering how it happened. How did you get your barbershop? If you see it as a past event, you don't have to wonder how you're gonna get the barbershop. You can look back and see how it happened. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if you are in the end of the thing, you won't have to worry about how it happened. And if you truly want to know how it happened, then you can look back and see how it happened. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Come on.
Get to the end. Leave the middle of the thing alone. Stop pushing it off because what we are doing, we are deluding ourselves because we are saying, well, I am living in the end, of my manifestation. I see it as a past event, but still don't know how it's going to happen. You notice where you're gone back into into a future tense thing.
Yeah.
How it is going to happen. That means you're now telling yourself again that it has not happened as yet.
That's true.
Assume the end. The middle is already attached to the end. If you assume the end, then the middle is already attached to it. Just assume the end. Never said something in the tape here. You don't get what you want, you get what you assume. You don't get what you want, you get what you assume. If you're still wondering how it's going to happen, then you're still wanting it. If you're still trying to figure out how it's going to happen, then you're still wanting it. When you have something, you don't wonder how you get it. You know how you get it.
So you're saying to assume what you want.
Assume that you have it.
Just don't want something.
Yeah, don't want it, have it.
Just
Don't want anything, have it. See,
right.
hope is wanting, but faith is having. Don't have hope, have faith. Hope is wanting. When you're hoping for something, you're hoping to get it. When you have faith, you should not have faith that you're going to get something in. You should have the faith that you have it.
Already.
Have the faith that you have it. Faith is having, hope is wanting.
Currency is a faith currency.
Faith currency, yeah. Faith currency. Assume that you have the money, and assume that you have the money to the point that you are making plans to spend it. You're getting ready to spend it. That's how much you know that you have it. That's how much you know that you have it, brother.
Yeah.
Order the goods. Order the goods from the manufacturer. That's how much sure that you have the money.
Your imagination is the manufacturer.
Yes.
Order and wait, as never has a tape that says
order and wait.
Order and wait. It may be slow, but it
won't be late. Order and wait. It may be slow, but it won't be late.
Come right on time.
Always have to come on time.
Yeah. Yeah, man. My goodness, this is so elementary, or should be elementary, Sir T, but our conditioning is what has disrupted this flow. It is our conditioning.
Yeah, because we're conditioned that life is hard.
Yes.
We've been told and have accepted that life is hard.
How we make it hard?
Why would life be hard? No, I didn't. And then people they only ask, "Oh, God is good," and God is what kind of good? Then what kind of God bring me come in hard? Like, me never ask him to come here, and then him carry me come here in a life that is hard. No, I didn't ask to come here. I had no say in it. I just appeared. And I appear in a situation that is hard, but at the same time, I must give glory to God for what? For bringing me into a hard life. Life is not hard. Life is not. I'm not telling you the only way life would be hard. Life would be hard if it was difficult to assume comfort. It's not difficult to assume comfort. Assume that things always work out for you. You know why enough people don't even
For you and
approach?
for you.
A lot of people won't even go up at the embassy to apply for your visa. You know what? They assume so them now get it.
Whatever you assume,
So that's why you don't get it.
that's it.
You're on your job and them say a position is open for promotion and you're not apply for it because you assume that you're not qualified. You assume that you're not gonna get it. And it takes the same energy that it takes to assume that you're not gonna get it. It takes you the same. It costs you nothing to assume that you're not it. It costs you nothing to assume. Back to the scripture from last week. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, honest, just, pure, lovely, of good report. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, and that you have to assume. Assume those things. When you say think on those things, you know what I mean? So you must have think about it. It means you must assume it. Assume that it is so.
Think from it.
Think from it. Yeah, don't think of it. Think from it. That's the difference between thinking and assuming. When you're thinking of something, but when you're assuming from it. You're assuming that it's already so.
A fact.
Yeah, it's a fact. You assume from facts. When you're assuming something, you have made it a fact. That's why you're assuming that it is. You notice you're not assuming that it is going to be so. You're assuming that it is so. It's fact.
Yeah.
So assumptions create facts.
I like that.
Assumptions create facts. Somebody type that on them social media now. When people ask you about it, you explain it. Assumptions create facts.
That is absolute fact, certainty. You know, because as I said earlier, you are always creating. You're ever creating. You know, you're never not creating, but we create more of what we do not desire to happen, not realizing that our consciousness or our consciousness of it not happening created it not happening. Okay, we are so conscious of the failure that it becomes, you know, our reality, and we think that we are living something because it was just a fate, our wrong place at the wrong time, or just our luck, not realizing that it is our assumption of such experience. Why we even living it to begin with? You know? So knowing this, knowing that we're the ones who create everything, contrary to what we were told or what people told you, or is still saying, we create everything. Absolutely every second, every minute of our day, weeks, months, and years to come. Are we created from something you might have created something 10 years ago and don't even know it. But when it happens, it's foreign to you. And you say, where did this come from? How did this happen? It's a seed you planted some time ago. In knowing that this is how consciousness works, then you won't question. You will shut the door on that thing immediately. If it's undesirable, if it's not pleasant, you shut the door to it and recalibrate and only focus on the dissolution, the dissolving that situation. Dissolve it by focusing only on the thing that you desire to happen instead. Focusing on that will dissolve what has happened, what has manifested that is unpleasant. But we're so trained to focus on what we're going through now that is unpleasant that we continue to create it, to sustain it. Your consciousness sustains or dissolve a situation. Isn't that amazing, Serti? Your own consciousness either is sustaining something that you're experiencing,
Absolutely.
or dissolves it. You know, you mentioned, I was laughing, Serti, you mentioned about the barbershop. You know, say just the other day I'm doing some what am I saying now? Some decluttering and stuff, and I found again the paper that I had drew the barbershop on. I found it again because I had it put up in my file, and I was getting rid of some stuff and I saw it. I mean, I studied the thing. I mean, I said I haven't seen this thing now for maybe about 8 or so years because I saw it after I got the barbershop.
Mm-hmm.
And I had forgot that I drew it. I literally forgot that I drew this thing. I drew this barbershop 2010. And I found a barbershop in 2014. 4 years later, as I just mentioned about planting seeds. And I did not remember that I drew the barbershop. I wasn't aware where I put it or that I even did it.
Yeah, man, you're supposed to lose it.
Huh?
Yeah, man. It will leave your consciousness for it to germinate. It have to leave out of your consciousness. So you have to lose it. You have to lose
it. Right? And so it showed up. I got the barbershop, and years later I found the drawing. And so I found it again just last week, and I'm studying the drawing. I mean, I said, but wait, this thing resembles the barbershop I'm in right now. Now, in the very beginning, how the barbershop looks now is not how the drawing. How the barbershop looked in the very beginning would not resemble the drawing I have now. You understand? The way how it is set up is not how it was in the beginning. When I first started, I had only 3 stations, and I had some other stuff in there like a pool table and foosball and stuff like that or whatever. Only 1 television and stuff like that. But when I go back and look at the drawing, Sir T, I have exactly six chairs. I have exactly 6 stations. I have I have 6 stations. I have a partition with the chairs with the people supposed to sit down in the waiting room. I have the TV, the big screen TV. I'm like, wait a minute.
Suppose me tell you something. As simple as how you draw the diagram there in 2010 with your 6 chair, 6 station, you could have had a barber shop with 18 stations, as simple as that, just by drawing somewhere.
Exactly. Right? That's the limitation I put on myself.
That's the limitation, yeah, because at the time that's what you felt was possible.
Yeah.
So you and nothing is wrong with that, because sometimes to make the assumption real, we're acceptable, to make it believable unto yourself. You have to stay within the realm of, in other words, to assume that you have $25 billion in your bank account, you drive yourself mad. You try if you assume that you have a 20 grand in the first.
Yeah.
To assume, because if you start assume that you have $25 billion in your account, automatically you go start wonder how.
You can't accept it.
You can't accept it because you go wonder how.
Yeah.
And the minute you start wonder how, you cancel it. So work with an assumption that you can accept without the wholeness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 6 station barbershop, yeah. So Anytime you're ready for expand, go 18 station, man.
Absolutely. But I'm just saying how profound it is that the shop has taken the shape. Remember, I told you earlier, as I was speaking earlier, that living in the end from the very beginning. So in 2010, I was living in the end from that very beginning of how I wanted the shop to look eventually. Okay? How I wanted the shop to look eventually. But it went through stages of evolution. And so how it looked now was the exact imagination or vision that I had from the very beginning. How it looks now is exactly how I had seen it from the very beginning. But I did not realize that I was building it up to that. Like I said, it is so organic. You are doing the thing that you had imagined or visualized, but you don't realize that you're doing it until the product is finished. I did not remember or realize that I was creating the shop the exact way I had seen it in my mind. And it's no wonder why it's resonated with me so much now than ever before. Just the look of it and the feedback I get from people and stuff like that, or what have you, whenever they come and they see it, it resonates. But I had not remembered that I had done this, and that is the conscious mind. It's very forgetful. The conscious mind is the creator or the designer of your desires, and your subconscious is the creator of what you had designed. So you design it, you draw the blueprint, your subconscious follows the blueprint and bring it to the exact proportion as you had designed it. But you will not remember or see it as it is happening. So this is why we don't remember our harvest, especially things that we that are contrary or um, that are mal, yes, a mal experience, something bad. You will not accept it that it is you who did it, because you don't want that. You always want something good, but we don't realize that we plant these seeds, good, bad, and indifferent, and there comes a time when they, when they germinate and express themselves. You know, but as long as you know, don't let anybody fool you. Anything and everything that happened to you or is happening to you in some way, shape, or form, you were in alignment with it. It cannot happen any other way. For it to happen any other way is to acknowledge that there is another, that there is another being, omnipotent being, somewhere causing all these things to happen. That is blasphemy. Okay? Once you accept that everything that happened is you who caused it, who's the root of it, you can dissolve it. If you don't recognize that, you will not be able to dissolve it. Even though, whether you know it or not, it is you who did it, you cannot dissolve it until you accept that it is you. Can't do it, because you have passed down your power, you have suppressed your power within you, and have given it to someone else. And this is how we were raised to operate. We are being how a particular system wants us to be, in accepting that things happen. They're just random, by chance. We just happen to be in the wrong place. We're always in the right place at the right time, but then we're in the wrong place at the wrong time. It can't be both. Okay? Everything is a correspondence. Everything corresponds. You will not put on a pink top and look in the mirror and it's blue. You understand? It's going to reflect exactly what you put on. You might want to see blue, but the law does not work like that. It is going to operate based on what you're wearing, what you're being, what you are feeling. You might want a 5-bedroom house, but you don't feel like it's possible. Therefore, you're not going to get that 5-bedroom house because consciousness, primarily your subconscious, reflects to how you feel. You're going to get whatever you feel. You don't feel like you deserve it. You don't feel like it's possible. You're going to get that feeling of it not being possible. That's what you're going to experience. Even though you want the 5-bedroom house. But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want, you get what you are, you get what you're feeling. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. You just said exactly what I was about to say. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. And what you are is only determined by one thing, you know. What you are is who you assume yourself to be. We could use the word imagine, but let's bring it back to a term that we are more accustomed to. Assume. What you are is who you assume yourself to be. When you're in your silence, when you're in your silent time by yourself, who do you see yourself as? That's who you are.
That's who you are.
Circus.
Yes, sir, T. So you're saying in the silence.
In the silence, yeah, man. When nobody is looking, when the cameras are not on, you're not performing for anybody. You're being honest with self now. Who do you see yourself to be? Whoever you see yourself to be in that moment, that's who you are, and everything in your life is going to be reflecting that. Now you can change that quickly without asking anybody. Same place in the silence without the cameras. Because who you declare yourself to be in front of the cameras, that's not who you are. That's who you want people to think that you are. Who you are is who you are when it's only you. I'm gonna tell you when you really know who you are. When you lay down in your bed by yourself and try to fall asleep. That's when you really know who you are. That's when all your thoughts come back to you. And that's who you are. That's why you should get into a habit, where you're at your most confident self when you're about to fall asleep. Because whoever you are in that moment, that's who you are. Whoever you are in that moment when you're about to fall asleep, because that's when you're totally by yourself. You can't carry nobody with you going to sleep. You alone can go in there. Your wife will lay down in the bed beside you. You can't carry her with you going to sleep. It's you alone have to go over there. Well, right when you're on the periphery of sleep, when you're on the doorsteps of sleep about to cross over, whoever you see yourself to be in that moment, that's who you are. And that's who your life will reflect. So that's the moment when you really want to work on yourself. You really want to work on yourself when you convince yourself of the best version of yourself in that moment. Circus.
Yeah, I've been practicing that lately, Sir T. Since we've been writing with our left hand, writing our affirmations with our left hand. And so every night before I go to bed, I write down the affirmations, I recite them, and then when I go and lay down, it's the last thing I do, and the only thing I do, without thinking of anything else or looking at anything else. Once I lay down and I know I'm going to close my eyes, I go over the affirmations again, and I do it 7 times. Like the wall of Jericho. Jericho means a fragrant odor or your desire, your desired state. But there's always a wall that you have to penetrate or break down. And so, they in the story, they went around the wall 7 times, blow the trumpet, and the walls fell down, and they took the city. And so, every night I do that, recite the affirmations in my mind 7 times, and then that's it. Close my eyes, and whenever I fall asleep, I fall asleep. So, in doing that, you're creating a end result, that's going to manifest organically. You won't even realize it will just happen like a thief in the night. But the trick is to not look for signs or look for the manifestation, how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen. Just close the door on the how and if and where and when, and just focus on the desire. Live in the end of the desire, sustain it there. And then in a time that you know not of, in a way you know not of, things will start to, just pop up, and you may see or realize what's happening. You may not. Like I said with the barbershop, it's so organic I didn't even realize it, until I saw the drawing again with the final cut, so to speak, the final edition. It happens so naturally. But because that's why I say when you write something down or you draw something, it's you create what you call neural pathways in your brain. You're creating neural pathways in your brain, and it's something that you have to sustain. You have to keep doing it until these things take shape. And when you start to recite the affirmations more freely, or it's flowing, effortlessly, easily. It's subconscious now. You see your writing get better. As I'm writing with my left hand, it don't feel funny anymore. Still feel a little funny, but even if it feels funny, you're not writing as how you feel, because it's now become, subconscious. I don't know how to explain it. I just know how it was from the beginning. It used to be something I struggled with, but no, it's just flowing. It's not perfect. If you want,
I find it's your way, sir, Chris. With me, to be honest,
yeah.
I don't think the penmanship has improved. The writing is still as ugly as hell, but the flow of it feels more natural. Like
Yeah.
I don't have to be twisting my hand into all kind of irregular shape to form my letters, and it's just flowing. It's still ugly, but it's flowing a lot better.
Not as pretty as the right hand, but
Oh no, never, no, not even close.
but it's definitely getting better, and so picture that, guys. As it's getting better, it's the same way it's reflected in your brain or in your consciousness. It's the same thing happening, no. It's the same thing going on. As a matter of fact, the fact that it feels better tells you that the inside, formation, or the inside job that we're creating is getting better. You're only getting better on the outside because it got better on the inside. As within, so without. As without, so within. It's only getting better on the outside because it's gotten better on the inside. Because repetition, from within, the art of thinking of it over and over and over, and then following it with an external example. The external example now is not first, it is second. The cause is within. The affirmation starts from within your mind, thinking of it. But the externalization of it is proving to you that you are accepting it more and more and more. It has become crucified, attached to your consciousness. And the more it's attached, or the more it is felt, the externalization of it, the act of it becomes more organic, natural. Natural is what we're looking for. The natural feeling, not something forced or something that you're fighting to do. It just, everything you do with your right hand is natural. Everything with your left hand is unnatural. When your left hand starts to feel natural, even if the writing doesn't resemble the way it is on the right, but it's flowing. You understand? You're forming the letters much easier than before. And it's just a flow state. And as you continue doing it, like I say, I write it 7 times a day, 7 times a week. I mean, sorry, 7 times a day, 7 times per week. So, I'm giving myself more and more repetition to do it in mind and on the outside. And when you see it start getting better, you know that you have developed. What we're doing is developing the inside. We're developing the right side of the brain, the right hemisphere of the brain. It has not been developed over the years because of our focus mostly on the right side. Most of us are right-handed. I know 2 people here. Wait a minute, Sir Clifford is not here no more? Okay. I know Sir Clifford said he's left-handed. Anna is naturally left-handed. But I think everybody else here is right-handed. So because we're right-handed and we use our right side of the body, mostly your right foot, your right hand, and stuff like that, we have not developed the right side of our brain as much as we've done the left side. So this exercise is to develop the inside, the right side of our brain going forward. And in doing so, it will help us dramatically and drastically to accept the things that we desire and carry it out with precision, even more so. So it is just covering all borders. Every stone, we're not going to leave them unturned. Everything is going to be dealt with in any way we can better or affirm our consciousness, our mind, our brain, our body. Anything that we can do to affirm things better going forward, because we have so many things that we have absorbed over the years, whether it be mentally, spiritually, physically, anything that we have done over the years, we have so much work to do to undo these things. So it requires a lot of practice. You are learning, unlearning, and relearning all the time, and we have a lot of stuff to unlearn. We've been alive longer doing the wrong stuff than we have been doing the right stuff. So this is why you have to do these things over and over and over, to the point where you are, as we're saying today, shutting the door off to the things that you used to do and leaving the door only open to the things that you're doing now. When you close the door off to the 5 senses, you are leaving the door open only to the imagination. When you have the door open to the 5 senses, you have closed off the imagination, because you cannot fathom how things is going to happen without knowing how it is going to happen. The fact that you have your 5 senses available to you traps you in trying to always find out how something is going to happen. I haven't heard anything yet. I haven't seen anything yet. You know, and so you focus only on the five senses rather than focusing on your truest sense, the sixth sense, your imagination, and the
Well,
first, as a matter of fact. Yes, sir.
yes, the imagination slash the assumption is the first sense, which is also the sixth sense. Don't waste your time assuming the same thing where your five senses are showing you.
Mm.
Always assume a refurbished version, a better version, and a renewed version of whatever your five senses are showing you. So you don't go ahead and don't anchor yourself. Don't accept what the five senses is showing you, no matter how good it is. The five senses are showing you your barber shop with 6 station, assume 7. Never you accept whatever your five senses, because your five senses is only showing you what you have assumed in the past.
Yeah.
The world of five senses is showing you what you have assumed in the past. And you have to continue assuming. So now you go ahead and you assume an upgraded version of that. Don't waste your time glorifying what your five senses is showing you. Like I said, I don't care how beautiful the result is. As long as you're still here, you can do better.
Yeah. True.
I want to tell us that the greatest enemy to future success is past success. The greatest enemy to what you can become is falling in love with what you have become. You can always you're always here in the creative mindset where you can create some more. So don't be here assuming the same thing where your five senses are showing you. You did already assume that. That's why your five senses is showing you it now. Assume better than that. 2.0, an upgrade of that. All right. So if you don't know what to assume, look around, see what you see, and assume a better version of that.
Like that. Like that, sir. You know, just do an inventory, you know, of what you've done and add to it. Upgrade it, you know, evolve. And that's what we do naturally with things anyways. We're always looking at what we've done and perceiving a newer version. And how interesting is it that the new version that you perceive, it becomes a reality. But only when you perceive that new version. You know, it's so my goodness, profound. The mind is plastic, it's elastic. Wherever it stretches to, everything must conform to it and follow, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. Wherever the mind stretches to, you know, or recedes to, because it's so diverse, it can stretch, it can expand, and it can contract. You understand? So this is why when we see something that is perceived to be difficult to do, we kind of recede into a smaller version of what we accept is possible. And therefore, we never achieve that thing that we think or thought was, you know, incomprehensible. It was not something that we saw ourselves even being or becoming or getting near to. And so the new or whatever perception you're having of yourself must be what life conformed to show you. And as Sergi said to me earlier, that if I had perceived a barbershop with 18 chairs, that is exactly what I would have achieved. No doubt. If I had done that, that means that I thought it was possible to have 6 chairs. And I think part of it was why I did 6 chairs at the time, Serti and everybody else here, is the barbershop I was working in at the time had 6 chairs. And so my consciousness was more in alignment with 6 years and working with 5 other people. The only thing that I had changed in my perception was the size of the place. I was like, I don't want anything like this small, because it was like a little box, you know. And so I perceived a bigger place. And so I got the 6 years and a bigger place. I also wanted to have a massage room and all these things. Everything that I perceived is in that shop and more
Yes.
wanted is there. Yes, sir.
It's what felt natural to you.
Natural. Yeah.
You know why? All right. You know why? When you look at Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kobe Bryant, these guys played basketball as children coming up, and they played in middle school, high school, went on to college, played basketball, had no doubt that they were going to make it to the NBA, made it into the NBA. It was very natural for them. You know why? Because they grew up in a household where their father had played in the NBA. So it felt natural to them. They didn't see it as an impossibility, as a mountain to climb to make it. You had children in Klay Thompson middle school and high school just as talented as him, and they did not make the NBA. Mm-hmm. You know why? There was a mental barrier for them to cross that Klay didn't have to cross that barrier. He came home every day and see an NBA player eating at his dinner table. His father. Same thing with Steph, same thing with Kobe. And come home every day to a father who had done it before, so it felt natural. Me come home to a father who did walk down all cancer, me go walk down later. Yeah, that's what it is.
So you're saying, certainly, if your father own Alcan, you know,
it would feel natural to me to make you own it too. It would be like Donald Trump's son.
Yeah.
If Donald Trump should pass right now, go bankrupt and pass, run out of money, you know, they left nothing give Baron Trump.
Yeah.
Baron Trump's son, Donald Trump's son, Baron, you know, even though his father passed and left him desolate without no money, Baron Trump is still more likely to become a billionaire than my son, you know.
Yeah.
Because him not have the mindset barrier there. Him watch him father do it before. My son I come up now and him. Do you understand what I say? So it's what's natural to you. That's why it is advisable that in your assumptions, start by assuming something better than what you currently have, as it's gonna feel natural to you. Don't start assuming say you have $250 billion in the account. It's not gonna feel natural, it's gonna feel forced. You can't can your subconscious. Your subconscious mind knows how force you force it.
Oh yeah.
It knows if it feels natural to you. The subconscious mind will always give to you whatever you give to it that feels natural. Whatever you give to it that feels natural, it returns that to you. Whatever you give to it that feels forced, that's a blighted seed, that it rejects a seed.
Yes. And you feel it.
Yeah, you feel it.
It's a feeling, you know. It's a feeling.
Yeah. When something feels natural to you, it feels natural. You know when something feels natural to you. Like you feel like you could do it in your sleep.
Certainly. That's why, you know, when we were learning this new concept of consciousness and spirituality, when you tell yourself, you know, that's someone, you know, when you tell yourself, say, I am God, you cringe.
Cringe.
It don't feel natural. You know, it don't feel natural because you were told that God is in the sky. You were made by God. And there's a devil and all these things. So
man, you'd feel more natural to you if you tell us say you're a devil. It would have feel more natural to you.
Your mom call you the devil many times.
Correct. Nobody never call you God yet, but people call you the devil.
God.
You little devil. Nobody has ever called you little God.
So you, anytime you do something so perceived to be evil or wrong, you immediately associate yourself with the devil, you know, because it is more thrown around on purpose to accept that you are devilish, as they would say. But nobody ever say you are goddish or you are a god. or you are God. Nobody has said that. So to say that to yourself when you start learning this thing, you feel unnatural. It feels wrong to say that. But you come to a point where you accept it and you don't give a damn what anybody else thinks. You understand? It's of no consequence if somebody says, you're not God, or you are wrong or you are blaspheming. It will not feel any way to you. It will feel it just bounce off and or go through one ear and not the other. That's how natural it feels because you know who you are. How you know you're God? You, as never say, by experience. You imagine something and you watch it come through. You watch it happen. What other proof do you need? You know you did it, and it worked out exactly how you had imagined it, or even better. Why do you need somebody? It's like planting a seed and the tree grows. Do you need anybody to convince you it was not the seed that the tree came from? It was just magic. It just magically appeared. You know you did it. It's the same concept. So it is of no consequence if somebody says to you, you're blaspheming or you're not God or whatever the case may be. It makes no sense what they say or believe. You know, that is they're speaking from their point of view that they have now or the feeling that they have now. They cannot fathom that type of responsibility. And so they will not declare that as such. And they will try to impress upon you their feeling, how they feel. And it's only going to be how they feel. There's no way they could have the same feeling and be telling you otherwise. They would agree. So it's the same thing with anything. When you're telling yourself, I desire this, I desire that, and it doesn't feel natural, these are just old programs that you have running that is still there, trying to protect you because you created them as a guide or some kind of insurance just in case. And it's just there to remind you of who you are or who you are being. So when you come up with this new idea that I am rich or I am wealthy or I am healthy, these old programs are going to pop up and try to tell you otherwise.
That's when you slam the door. That's when you slam the door. The minute when you come up with that, or the minute the thought come find a door, if I even your car door up, it and slam it back. Slam a door. Careful with your finger when you slam the door.
Exactly. But yeah, no, that's right. You're right, Sir T. That's exactly as soon as you start to question or feel like it's unnatural, you slam the door on that feeling. You cut it off. They're just saying if your right hand is a bother to you, you cut it off. Not literally, but figuratively.
And I see us not in a circus. The slamming the door technique, I can see how it works, when you really think of it, Because check it out. If you are safely on this side of the door, inside yourself, feeling opulent and abundant about yourself, that I have, not that I want, you're over here thinking I have enough money in my account to do this. I have perfectly good health. I have whatever. You're over here in your feeling like that. And then in comes this thought start creeping in. I said, no, sir, where you go get that from? You see, when you slam that door, what that representing, it would be like you the inside and an enemy is on the outside trying to come in.
Yes.
An enemy is on the outside trying to come in on you. When you slam the door, you feel safe again. So when you slam the door and that thought, you go after you slam the door, that's when you go back and say your affirmation and repeat your affirmation some more times and feel safe again.
Yes.
So that's what it really represents. It represents an enemy trying to come in on you and you feel threatened, you're in an anxiety, panic attack, but now you slam it door and you know you're safe, kind of lock out outside.
Exactly.
Lock him out, man.
And your consciousness is your weapon of choice.
Yes.
You have a gun. You're not afraid if nobody is at your door. Let them come because you are armed. You are as them say strapped. They have no.
Circus, last night I'm in here, and I was home alone. Wife is out of town, and my son at work, and I'm here alone. And I could have swear me hear somebody out like them had walk. It actually sounded like the trash can in the backyard.
Yeah,
And I thought about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning.
yeah.
I mean, I say, whoever out there, you see if out there, but you better not approach this door. Why? Because I know I have something for him if I approach this door. You feel safe. You're not even worried about him.
You don't even worry about it. And it is the same way you have to feel about your doubts. Are your five senses who will be trying to get in. Your five senses are the wolves in sheep clothing. That's a nice topic right there for Mind Chat. Wolves in sheep clothing. You know, that's what they are. Five wolves clothed in sheep clothing, pretending to be your friends, and they are not. Okay, you just have to make sure that your consciousness, your awareness of who you really are, is built not on sand, but on a rock, as in esoteric language, meaning that it cannot be moved and could have blows a till. They will fall down before the house falls down because your consciousness is affirmed and built on a rock. And unless it's something that is supportive of who you are or who you are being or desire to be, you will not hear anything they say or entertain anything they say. It doesn't match. You understand? Their vibration and yours don't match. So you cannot let them in. And that's what you have to do with shutting the door on the senses, on the doubts, on the fear, on the what ifs, or on the maybes, and look at the economy, look who's the president, or all these foolishness that we've been taught to focus on. Never was taught to focus on, our conceptions that we have in our mind and to bring it to fruition. We abort all of these things because once we look outside and we see that, oh, there's a storm coming, or some kind of impediment is in the way, we abort the conception. We self-destruct because we're so focused on the disaster at hand, not realizing that if your house is built on a rock, if the foundation is strong, the storm is going to come and pass right over. The house is still here, but where's the storm? They're gone. But we quit, give up before the storm even hit, because we had not prepared our consciousness to shut off the door, to the senses, to what's out there, and only keep your door open to the imagination, where everything in the imagination is possible, is fact, absolute. The imagination rules over anything and all things.
As long as you can remain persistent with the imagination, with the assumption.
Mm-hmm.
With the assumption. Because it is an imagination, but we just want to bring it home closer to home more. Because imagination suggests imagery. And yes, it involves imagery. But even without the imagery, it's an assumption. You can assume something without imaging anything. You're not image anything. You're not doing any visualization. You're just assuming that something is a fact. It's a silent knowing.
Mustard seed.
It's a mustard seed. Exactly. It's a silent knowing. So everything is possible if you assume it to be so and remain persistent with the assumption. Meaning, every time it comes to mind, it never comes to mind and you assume it's not possible. Every time it comes to mind as not only as a possibility, it comes to mind as a done deal. It comes to mind as something that is, not something that will be. It becomes so natural to you that every time you think from it, not of it. As far as you know, as far as you can recall, as far as you can remember, as far as you are concerned, that's how it is. And then you look out into the world of five senses and you see no evidence of it, and it does not mean a damn thing to you. That's how it is. That's how it becomes real.
They already got the door closed.
Already got the door closed. You're not even looking into the world of five senses for it. You're not even looking into the world of five senses to see it.
Yeah.
When it's show up in the world of five senses, it's so natural that you might not even notice it immediately that it's now there. That's how much you're not look for it. It creep up on you like a thief in the night. It appear in the world of five senses, and you don't even notice that it is now there. You know why? Because as far as you're concerned, it was always there.
It was always there. Happened already.
It happened already. So when it do show up, and like as it show up at the crack of dawn, you know what you say, yes, it has grown out because you've been looking. No, you have not been looking. Now watch on.
You were already living it.
You were already living it. When the farmer plant him crop, farmer got ground tomorrow. All right, farmer dig plow up over this up on the west side of him field and him plant corn last week. Him done with over the stuff, you know. Him come back and him ground every day him got him ground. Him come back and him ground today, but him on the east side of where plant cassava. And him now go over there so when me plant the corn yesterday or 2 days ago, go check if it a grow. No time for that. That a grow as far as him know that a grow him over here so plant cassava today. No business with them corn. Him plant them already. It's the same level of assurance you have to have with your assumptions where you know you're not wonder, you're not check.
As a matter of fact, Shirty, before he planted the corn, he already saw the crop.
The crop, him look market feet already, man. Him know exactly who him go sell it to.
You already having buyers them already.
Yeah,
so
man. Yeah, man.
Accordingly to how many buyers he had.
Yeah.
The buyers is your and look at that, Shirty. You have you secure your buyers even before the fact.
Yeah.
Living
That's
in
how
the
sure you are that this thing is coming.
So all these things that we do, Shirty, the farming as an example, perfect example, are just a declaration of consciousness.
Yeah.
And how it works. That is it inner working of consciousness at all times. Everything we do on the outside is an inside job.
Listen, even the Bible, you know, the parable book, you know, it's written on an agricultural principle, you know.
Yeah.
Always giving examples. A farmer goes out to sow. And as he sow, some seeds fell along the wayside, some seeds, and Noah come out of a stream and he plant a vineyard. And it's always talking, and a garden was planted in the garden in the east of the Eden. And it's an agricultural principle.
Yeah.
The book itself was written on an agricultural sowing and reaping. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man sow, that shall is a sowing and reaping principle. It is built on.
Yeah.
Because that's what consciousness is. It's a sowing and reaping principle, and it is not complicated. Sowing and reaping is the simplest of all phenomena. A child can understand it.
Yeah.
Very simple, but very profound and very sure, and it is a law. It cannot be averted. It cannot be broken in no other way.
Yep. And we get to use this law and create
Every day.
our life, our heart's desires, as they would say. You know, and the world will conform to it. I remember when I was looking for the barbershop, and I had focus on this one place, and I was told that the place was for rent, and that someone already rented it. But in the beginning, they were not there. Some mattress company, they say, kept on going, and it was true. There was someone rented it that was on a, because when I went there some weeks later, there was a sign on the door say coming soon, and I said to myself, well, and I didn't even know about Florence Coverstream at the time. I just knew about Neville, and I said, well, if it's not this building, it would be its equivalent. I'm going to get something like this. So I kept on going to the building every day. Anyways, I went there every day, park my car, take my pictures, touch the windows.
Yeah, because you're using that building as a point of contact.
Yeah.
Until the other building show up.
And when I found where I'm at now, I wasn't looking that day. I was led there.
Look what Stacey put in our chat, where you say you weren't looking that day. Look what she just put in our chat.
What you say?
So as a farmer, sometimes it doesn't manifest until the following year when you are not looking or even feeling excited about it.
Exactly. See? Yeah. She is so right. Absolutely factual. I was not looking on that day. But what was important, guys, I was doing the work. I was going out every day to that same place. I've been to many places and talked to people and stuff, but what I was doing was like I'm doing with the left and right hand right now. I was creating the reforming or adding the neural pathways in my brain. In this case, I was adding the possibility of finding a place in my consciousness. I knew eventually I would. So even when I found out that the place was rented, I say, you know what, that don't mean anything. I'm going to keep on going, keep on going. And I was led to that place where I'm at now. Shortly after that, not long after, I found that place. So naturally, that when I found it, I knew it. I knew once I found that building, this was the last time I was going to look for a space. I was that certain that I had found my place. And it was true. But it would not have happened if I had not kept the door shut on the 5 senses, telling me it's not going to happen. Place rent already. What you're going to know? The market is saturated. All these things. I shut the door and all that. I kept on doing the work until it manifested. Yes, sir, team.
No, I was a bit distracted, yes, sir, Chris. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so so the principle here is not to pay attention to the the thing manifesting slowly or not manifested yet or whatever, or no signs of it happening, or because you're doing the work, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to see some signs because I'm doing the work. I'm going to see somebody's going to come to me or say something or whatever. It may not happen like that. And to pay attention to any such thing is going to discourage you, or slow down your what you're supposed to be focusing on is to sustain consciousness of the thing that you desire. You're going to end up letting go, maybe not consciously, but subconsciously, programs that you have designed prior, that would, if things don't happen in a certain time, you initiate this particular behavior and you give up on your goal because you don't see it happening soon enough. So you have programs that in the background designed to protect you, so you can move on to something else, and stop wasting your time with this because it's not happening. So you would initiate these programs to say, well, you know what, this is not happening. Let me just give up for now and try another day or whatever the case may be. So you have to be aware of that. When you're looking for signs or examples of a sign, so to speak, you will slow down your manifestation because it's right there. It's going to happen so naturally, so organically. The sign you're looking for is not how it's going to happen. So don't even look, because you're going to be disappointed, because you have your own idea of what it's on how it's supposed to happen or going to happen, and it is not like that. Not even close. The end result would be what you would have accomplished or experienced, but the how, man, let me tell you, that right there is the biggest thief. Okay, that will steal your joy, steal your dream, because you're so focusing on a particular how it's going to happen, as a step, some kind of sign, example. No, it will happen even in a storm, even when there's a thunderstorm going on and all this type of stuff, so to speak, even when things seem topsy-turvy. That is when the thing will show up. Just like that, out of the blue, in a time where you didn't even see it, how is it possible? No. So sustain your imagination, your consciousness on the thing desired, not on the signs, because you will deny your harvest, as Never would say. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for your attention and for being here each and every Sunday or someday. I'm saying no, because we're summing up our lives, we're adding to ourselves, and every time we come here and to do the one great I am, we are adding to our consciousness. We are evolving, and to add to it is to plant a seed, our seeds, and as we give it water, which is feeling, which is faith, feeling as if this happened, as we give it that attention, that energy will flow to it, and it will manifest, in the physical. But the trick is to manifest it in the metaphysical, to live it, to experience it in the unseen, only within your own mind, your own imagination, to live it there first. That is the cause. The effect, the alignment, the correspondence must show up eventually. But just continue pretending or tending to your desire in mind and pay no attention to it expressing itself in whatever perceived time you have. It will come, as long as you stay focused on the sustain the imagination. Sir T, any final word, final cut before we cut?
Final word, slam the door. Slam the door. Make it final. When you're cutting off certain things, and I'm talking about, it's gonna come to you in the form of feeling, emotion. It's gonna come to you in the form of feeling. Doubt is an emotion, it's a feeling. Slam a door. And nothing physical will appear in front of you that you're slamming the door, and it's gonna be an emotional thing that come on you, a doubt, a feeling. You find a door somewhere and slam it.
Come on, I love that. Perfect way to end it. That said, gonna slam the door on this segment of the One Great I Am Awakening. Thank you, guys. Much love and respect to you all. Enjoy the rest of your day and week. And if anything comes to your mind that questions how the thing imagined is going to happen, you heard Sir T. Instantly, immediately, right away, slam the door and only keep the door open to your wish already fulfilled. Love you all. See you next week. Over and out. Peace.